How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTCReaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading while the price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, we are seeing a retracement. This is why confirmations are important. This means we could see Dixie continue to pull back, and that would continue to be positive for the crypto market. We did say yesterday dominance may start to fail. That's looking a little more positive. Stochastic does want to round away, momentum is rounding with the red dot, RSI is pushing down, and VWAP does have a lower high, so watch if we break a lower low. If we break a lower low and head through that neutral and hold bearish, then momentum will weaken, money flow will weaken, and again, that would be more positive for crypto. Over on the 1 hour, we are trying to make a bounce, so watch for lower highs and lower lows. If we get continued lower highs and lower lows that do not connect, then we can continue lower, and again, push crypto up. That VWAP is bullish, momentum is bullish with a double green dot. It does say momentum wants to continue forward and push that money flow into the green. So watch that VWAP. If it holds bullish, then we could continue forward. Our MPP does say we could push to the 108, but that 108 would be a lower high. Then we could reject lower and continue down. That would only be a 38% chance of happening. The MPP does say there's a higher chance of pushing to the 109. And then again, watch for rejection in that area. That would be a higher high, but if we can't follow that higher high with a higher low, then we would still pull back. VWAP is bullish, so overall that is positive, and if that VWAP stays bullish with these higher highs and higher lows, we could continue forward, and that again would be bad for the crypto market usually, because when Dixie goes up, usually crypto does go down. So over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we did try to run up, and then we saw a rejection here. This is a long upper shadow candle. Remember, a long upper shadow candle does show that the bulls tried to run us up, and the bears stepped in and gained control. So if followed by a strong red candle, it could kick off a bit of selling pressure, or at least Bitcoin would not accelerate as well as altcoins. And again, that would be what we need for altcoin season. We need dominance to weaken while total goes up if we're going to get an altcoin season. Our stochastic does want to round, RSI is pulling back, momentum is rounding, VWAP is pushing down, and money flow is in the green, so we do look positive here. We may trade flat, but watch lower time frames. If they remain bearish, then we could break down. We do want to make a higher low here, so watch very close. If we break for a lower high and then reject for a lower low, then we could continue lower, but our MPP does say there's a chance that we see dominance run back up to that 62.5. That would be positive for crypto, for Bitcoin, and maybe not so positive for our altcoins. Our altcoins could still push up depending on how total looks. If total looks more bearish, then Bitcoin may pump against our altcoins, and altcoins may be the one that's flat for the day. So Bitcoin was actually a little bit in the red just before we started, but in the last like 15 minutes, it does look like it wants to gain a little bit. So over on total for the 1 hour, we do look like we are holding bearish on money flow. VWAP is bearish, momentum is pushing up. That could bring this 1 hour lower, but our 1 hour MPP does say we could push up to that 99 trillion, just shy of 1 trillion. RSI does want to push up, VWAP is trying to push up, momentum is bearish, but if that VWAP can push forward, we could continue higher. We do have a long lower shadow candle here, so a long lower shadow, unlike that long upper shadow on Dixie, could push us forward. If we see a strong green candle, that could create a rounded bottom that would attempt to push price forward. We can see some, don't know if we have any recent examples of this. So long lower shadow candle, green candle, we got sideways momentum, and then we continued forward. So there's one example there. Long lower shadow candle, green candle, a little bit of a push, not much, so it doesn't have to always be a quick gain. Remember, you're not always going to get fast moves, so that's why you want DCA in and DCA out. That's how you're going to do the best. It's time in the market, not timing the market. RSI does want to push up, VWAP is trying to gain strength, momentum does want to push forward, so we do look decent here, but I would watch that money flow and that VWAP. If that VWAP does not break a bullish trend soon, then we could see altcoins retrace still, so watch lower time frames. They need to hold bullish. Over on the 1 hour, we are fighting a Fibonacci level. If we can break this Fibonacci level, our MPP does say we could push just above that 1 trillion, so that would be positive, but that VWAP is starting to come down. If that VWAP continues to come down, momentum will start to round away, and if that VWAP and momentum break bearish, money flow is already in the red, so that would continue lower, weakening those higher time frames and bringing altcoins down. So I would exercise a little bit of caution and watch that resistance area very close, but we do have a pretty solid bounce off that 936. So over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we have that long lower shadow candle. Again, that is a bullish candle, if followed by a strong green candle. Momentum does want to break down. VWAP is favoring bearish, stochastic is pulling back, and RSI is dropping. But if lower time frames can favor more bullish, we could see a break forward. We did try to break away from our pattern here, but we pulled back in pretty quickly, so that is positive. We did hit the top for a third time, and we did reject. So I would err on the side of caution there, as our MPP does say that rejection could cause us to see a higher low. That would be the positive scenario. There's an 83% chance of that, but it does also state it could try to break us from our pattern. So our stochastic is starting to pull back, RSI is starting to drop, momentum is running with a red dot, and that VWAP is starting to break down. Watch that VWAP very close. If it stays in this bearish territory, then we likely will fill that second possibility with that lower low. If we get a lower low here, we do have pretty flat highs, so we could start to make bearish patterns, bearish continuations that could start to break us down, as the highs and lows would not connect. Remember, when they do connect, like right here, that's a rising channel. Not every pattern's 100%, so I am saying this pattern may not play out. We can delete it if you want, but I would say the break up would just be a little shorter now. So again, watch for a higher low if we're going to get that break forward. But Bitcoin on its own did look a little more bullish before we started, so we'll see how it panned out over the last few minutes, since that seems to be a pretty quick influence there. But we do still have that same descending channel that can push you up. Now, everything that sounds bad is bad. Visit Mastering the Trade if you're confused on these patterns. It's near the end of that playlist, and if you're new to crypto, I'd start at the beginning. Momentum does want to push down, VWAP is favoring bearish, stochastic is pulling back, and RSI is starting to push down. So if we continue lower here on lower time frames, we could see a breakaway, but our VWAP did get higher lows, so that's kind of bullish for us, as that could continue to push us up with that momentum pushing bullish. If both our VWAP and momentum stay in the bullish territory here, money flow will go from red to green, and we could continue forward. We also have a potential higher low here, so if we break away from this pattern, we could get a little bit of a bullish continuation that could try to break us toward that 101k, and if we continue beyond that 101k, that's where we would start to retest our previous highs. Our stochastic does want to push up, momentum is gaining strength, and again, that VWAP is gaining strength with a very short low, so watch for this wave to continue. If it's more strong bullish wave like this one here, or a pretty decent one like this one here, we could get a decent move forward. Now remember, usually when that VWAP pushes forward a little harder, you do get those quicker, stronger moves, you do get better run-ups. When that VWAP is kind of flat, you do kind of get that sideways, not so strong movement. So if you're looking for swing trades, keep that VWAP in mind. So over on graph for the daily, we are pulling back. We do have a long lower shadow candle. We did hit our value area high, just shy of our buy-in, so we may not get in here. So I'm actually going to modify this order, as we do look a little more on the bullish side. So I'm going to say, let's just get some more graph here, as we did not have our order set properly, and I do want to pick a little bit more up for our trading account here. Our RSI is starting to weaken, VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is pushing down, but that money flow is bullish. So if that VWAP continues to push forward and we see a strong green candle, then we could push forward. If we see a red candle tomorrow, then moving our buy order up would be a bad move, because we could easily break that value area high and then fill it tomorrow. So just because I'm moving the buy order up on the paper trading account doesn't mean you should necessarily do it unless you feel like we are going to move forward. Now, we do have a slightly higher high here, so watch for higher lows. There is a 53% chance we pull back to that 20-cent range, so maybe you put your buy-in order somewhere down here, a little lower. That would be a little better than buying in right now, just because you're afraid of missing out. Remember, don't FOMO in or FUD out. Our stochastic doesn't want to push up, RSI is pushing forward, momentum is gaining strength, and that VWAP is bullish. So that if the VWAP can stay bullish here, then momentum will lead money flow into the green, and if that money flow can hold green, that would push higher time frames forward. So again, watch for those higher highs and higher lows, but if we break that 20-cent area, our MPP does say we may pull back beyond that pulling control there, sorry, losing my words here, pulling control, and then push to our value area low. So the pulling control is the blue line. That's kind of hard to see because it's on top of the 16.316, and remember, we've been saying that's a strong support area, so that pulling control there is showing how that is a strong area. Our value area high is just beyond our next support, so that value area low, sorry, the green one's the low, the red one's the high. So the value area low, if we were to break beyond that, I don't think that'd be a high probability, but we do have some other supports around this 11.057 and the 7.716. Again, I don't think we're going to break too much further than the 16.316 if we did see a pullback. So over on Anchor for the daily, we are seeing the potential for that long lower shadow candle. Since we've seen it on everything else, not going to mention how that can play, but VWAP does want to push up, momentum wants to gain strength, money flow can push forward, stochastic is pretty maxed out, so watch if it can make a bounce here. If stochastic can make a bounce here, RSI will push forward and lead price higher. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a MPP probability of breaking that 40.49. That is only a 27% chance though, so err on the side of caution. We're pretty much in the midway of that current MPP, and our next MPP is projecting we do a little bit of a corrective move down. We did push up very quick. Remember, when you go up quick, you do tend to shoot down, so don't shoot for the moon, you can come crashing down. Momentum does want to push forward, VWAP is bullish, money flow is in the green, but if that VWAP breaks down and makes a lower high with a lower low breaking through that neutral, then we could push down toward that 26.73. However, if that VWAP gets like a short peak and pushes forward, we might see a higher low around that 33.08 and then potentially continue forward from there. So over on XRP for the daily, we did push down beyond that $2 zone, so hopefully you got some of that buy-in like we've been saying, somewhere around that $2, and we did almost wick around that 190 zone, so you could have been just shy of another fill there, but hopefully you use that as a decent DCA opportunity. Our RSI is starting to pull back, our money flows in the green, VWAP is looking like it wants to round, but watch lower time frames. If the lower time frames don't push forward and hold in the green, then that VWAP will not round, it will continue lower, and momentum will break neutral, weakening that money flow. Over on the 1 hour, our MPP does say we could push to the 144. Stochastic is pretty flat, it's maxed out, can't really go much further, pushing that RSI forward. Our price likely will continue forward if those continue to stay high, as we are trying to create a little mini bull flag. We have a little bit of a push up followed by consolidation that could continue you higher. Our MPP does say there is a 45% chance of hitting that 275. Watch if we can break that area. If we can break through that 290, then remember we have that chance of still pushing to that 386. It's just a little less probable if we don't continue forward and break through. If we start seeing lower highs and lower lows, then that's where we're going to see those lower targets. Our stochastic is pretty maxed out. Again, watch that close as VWAP is starting to look like it's losing strength. If that VWAP continues to lose strength, momentum will round away and money flow will continue to deepen in the red, weakening higher time frames and pushing us down. But if that VWAP can continue gaining strength, momentum will reverse that money flow and we can continue higher. And if that money flow breaks green and holds, that's where we would see those higher break up points like that 3088, 3090 zone and potentially higher. Remember, we're not saying that's the end of the line if we hit that range. Over on Algo for the daily, RSI is pushing forward, momentum is in the bullish territory, VWAP is favoring bearish but it's starting to round, momentum does want to round too, so if that VWAP and momentum continue to round, money flow will continue its bounce, and we could see that MPP probability of like, it's hard to see, 41, so 40 cents and not tenths, so 40 cents we could push forward to. There's a 71% chance we do make a lower high though. So watch it very close. We would want to hold that 37.49 support. if we're going to see that push forward. It does say we could push to that 94, so quite shy of that golden pocket. So our max breakup is a little shorter, but that doesn't mean long term we still can't get up there. So our VWAP is favoring bearish, momentum is pushing down, and money flow is overall weakening. Over on that 1 hour, zoom in a bit as price is pretty flat here. We do have a lower high, so I would exercise caution. This is following a lower low with other lower highs and lower lows that do not connect very well. So this is a bearish continuation that will make us possibly retest that value area high right around that 22.58. Stochastic is pretty flat, but does look like it could start to round. It hasn't stayed overbought for very long on the 1 hour, at least in recent history. VWAP is starting to pull back, momentum is running forward, but if that VWAP continues to get lower highs and lower lows, it will break that neutral and momentum will round away, causing money flow to remain red and pushing us lower. There's a 40% chance we do push to that 1845, so I would watch if we can make that higher low right around that 3043. If we make that higher low and then we break that 3079 area, then we do still have chances of seeing bullish momentum, as that could kick off a bullish continuation. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a great night. Hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already.